Hello, Thrift Babes. It is Sammy D here, live from my New York City apartment, here today for another. This is our fourth Thrift Boss Babe interview, and I'm always excited. Like every single time I say I'm excited, I am authentically excited about the interview. But tonight I'm really excited because I'm interviewing someone I've known in this industry for, I think, almost 6 years. I would just have to go back and actually look at the dates as to when we first met. But I have seen this woman. Her name is Michele. I have seen her from the very beginning with the vision and the concept of what her store would be. And then I have seen her year after year just get stronger and stronger in her business practices, in her productivity, in her work-life balance, in how she feels about herself and what she's done for her community. So I don't want to take the spotlight away from Michele, but I do want to tell you a little bit more about what you're going to learn tonight from this interview. We've interviewed a series of women who are in the thrift industry, and they all do something different. We interviewed, and I see that she's tuning in right now. We interviewed Tracy Chambers Vintage, although the proprietor's name is Helen, but in my mind, her name is Tracy, and she sells vintage straight out of her home and is amazing and has just really created a unique concept that works for her and can really work for anyone if they just put their mind and heart to it. And then we also interviewed, who else did we interview? We interviewed Veronica of Vintage Meets Modern, and she sells jewelry online, and she started because she was selling at Neiman Marcus and acquired all of this stuff. And then when her contract ran out and she could legally sell it on eBay, she started her side hustle, and it became her full-time thing. And then last week we interviewed the owner and founder of a nonprofit thrift store in San Antonio, Texas. Texas. I always do that. I always mispronounce things at the very beginning of my interviews. So San Antonio is called Revolution Thrift. It is a nonprofit thrift store, and the owner's name is Rachel, and she is, I wanted to cry on the interview. So tonight we're interviewing Michele, again, Emotional Outlet. She runs a for-profit thrift store. And what's going to be so amazing about tonight is I know that so many of you have dreams. You have dreams of opening something for your community, something in the thrift industry. And it's overwhelming. You don't know where to begin. You don't know the road less traveled. And there's those of us who jump right in, and we kind of figure it out as we go, which is sort of my personality. And then there's those of us who want to get a little bit of wisdom so we at least know what's going to happen in the months and years that are to come. So Michele, she's definitely going to spill some secrets for you. So definitely watch this entire interview because I have some very specific questions to ask her. And we also are going to get an amazing tour of her store, which is in upstate New York, which I always buy from every single time I go visit her because there's such amazing stuff. So really quickly, before we welcome Michele onto the interview, if you have not taken the What Type of Thrifter Are You quiz, that is linked. Hello, Chicago, and hello, Alice. Nice to have you here. The What Type of Thrifter Are You quiz is linked in this Facebook Live interview. It will give you your thrift archetype. This is to promote the fact that I'm opening the doors to Thrifting the Trends, my online course, my first online course in collaboration with Capsule and Tonic, whom we'll be interviewing at the end of this week, on how to sell on Poshmark and how to sell on eBay successfully and strategically. So I'd love for you guys to take that quiz, pass it around, and also don't forget to follow Emotional Outlet. She too is on Poshmark, Etsy, Instagram, and on Facebook, so you can get the address and hours of her brick and mortar store. All right, guys, I see that so many of you are joining. Thank you so much for jumping on and learning more tonight. I'm going to welcome Michele and cross my fingers that the thrift gods and the technology gods are on our side. And we're going to have a great interview. So Michele, I'm adding you right now. Can't wait to see your beautiful face. Crossing fingers. This is always the moment of truth, guys, because thrifters are great with technology, but sometimes technology isn't great with thrifters. Hello.
Here I am. Hi.
We did it.
Can you see me okay? And I'm hard, and I'm
yes.
Not
well, you're vertical
turned.
now, but because we're both horizontal, it's equal. So
we fit.
That's what matters.
Okay.
You look amazing. I'm wearing a blazer too. Look.
Oh, in honor of me?
In
Sammy?
honor of you.
I'm like the blazer queen.
She's being humble, guys. Michele has some of the most beautiful items of clothing I've ever seen because you're so stylish.
Oh.
And smart. Smart and stylish.
Thank you. Oh.
Thank you for joining
Thank you,
us.
Sammy. Well, I'm so excited to be here, and congratulations on the growth of your Facebook page,
thank you.
Thrift Babes. It's just been amazing, and it's so inspiring to see the gals on here, what they find and how they put it together. Especially, it's really inspiring.
It is.
It's so fun.
It is. It makes us all want to step up our game every single day.
Hi, Alice.
Yay. So, Michele.
I'm seeing some of my local people.
I know. We had actually, thank you to everyone who joined. If you're tuning in, I think I welcomed about 15 new Thrift Babes because of Michele. I was like, accept.
Super.
So this is so exciting. So you guys, if you're tuning in and you know Michele personally, you're going to really understand, how this vision was born and a little bit more about Michele's background. And I like to start off all my interviews with Michele with sort of asking that straight and direct question, which is, how did you find secondhand? How did you discover vintage, thrifting? What is your relationship to that?
I was trying to kind of go back into the misty past to remember that, and the best thing I can remember is that my mother taking me and my sister to a place in a town near us that was a secondhand store, and I was a little older at the time. I think I was like, I had already started like working in an office environment, and I was shopping there, and I couldn't believe what I was finding that would be perfect for work, and how little money I had to spend on it. And so I got very excited about thrifting at that point. And then like in between that and me moving upstate, like, so no longer in an office environment, but more in a sort of an environment where I worked in a library where I was the bookkeeper.
I didn't know
so
that.
I was a little bit of back office.
Okay.
Yeah. The one right here. And I was sort of in the back office, and I was kind of allowed to wear whatever I want. And people didn't know what to make of me a little bit because I would wear these kind of kooky outfits. And I found a few friends up here who loved thrifting too. And we found like, the Salvation Army and a couple of like real small not-for-profits. And we would, I think a lot of it at that point was around like fashion. So I was really into fashion magazines. I was really into like what's on the red carpet, and it would just be so fun and cheap to play with what we saw. Oh, sorry, I'm wiggling to play with what we saw in the magazines and go from there to create even more outlandish, or not really outlandish, but just more fun outfits.
Right.
And so it's been and now I'm just totally obsessed. Unfortunately, I don't have as much time now to go shopping as I may have at other times in my life, but I still love it.
Well, when you visit New York next and I take you on the NYC Bargain Thrift Store tour,
we have to talk because I'm coming.
Oh, that's right. Okay. We'll talk off this interview. But like, guys, Michele is so humble. I think Michelle's so knowledgeable about designers and trends. And you're so right. It's like, a lot of people do find thrifting simply because they realize that they have, a affection, for lack of better words, for fashion, but that their budget will never be able to give them the opportunity to actually get, at least en masse, the Gucci, the Chanel, the, Isabel Marant, whatever it is that you enjoy, but you can still find the styles in the thrift store.
Yes. Yes. And that's a really good point. Like while I was working at that library, I took out every single book in that library and all the libraries that were in the network on fashion. And I got a great education going back to like haute couture, World War II, and on up to the present time. So that you're so right. Like, so that can inform, like when you see something that inspires you, you can sort of like, I know what's going on there, and then you can easily translate that to maybe something different, but somehow similar that you find in the wild, and then you put it on and hooray, works.
I love it. This is so fun. So, all right. So I know a little bit about the vision, but I'm even curious because I know you've told me the story before, but first of all, let me back up. So if you're tuning in, Michelle's store is called Emotional Outlet, which I know she'll explain why it's called Emotional Outlet momentarily. But Michele, how was the vision born for Emotional Outlet? And this is kind of the next question. Ooh. Do you hear that fuzziness? Is that me?
I don't hear it.
Okay, that must just be me hearing myself. If you guys hear any fuzziness, just let me know in the comments below. And this is jumping ahead to the next question, but also why did you decide to choose to open a thrift store in your community in particular and have a consignment model?
Well, there was always this like shopkeeper's dream in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew, but I never ever took it seriously. How could I ever possibly make it work? Like, how would I be able to afford it? And what would I do? You know, but I just, the idea of having a shop and being in my shop all day long, people coming in and getting, you know, that was kind of like
in your heart,
a thing that attracted me. But Emotional Outlet itself was born totally on a whim, Sammy. And you know, I'm kind of like, you know, a record keeper, and I plan things out, but Emotional Outlet was literally, the Chamber of Commerce was having a street fair, and I rolled a rack to the street fair and sold a couple of things at this like one day thing, and it was really fun. And then little by little, like, well, so then after that, I got a local business, a little gym, a little fitness center, and the gal who ran it like needed some help keeping the doors open. So I said, okay, let me have the part of this space of yours to sell my stuff, and I'll be your receptionist. You know, like, so if people want to come in and see the gym, I'll show them around. If they want to work out, like, it was very set up well for that. Like, you know, it was very separate. And she let me do, so I started for free. Like, I had paid nothing for rent or anything. And then eventually I started paying rent, and then even further on, I ended up taking over the space. And in the meantime, my husband and I purchased a different building here in our little village, and he convinced me to move here. And he beautifully renovated this space for me. And so I've been in this space for, it'll be 6 years in July. So by the time I was ready to move in here, like, the business down there had grown a little bit. Like, I had quite a few consigners, and, you know, it was worth doing, you know, and he believed in me enough. Like, he believed in what was happening enough to say, yeah, I think, you know, we could spend the money outfitting, you know, renovating this store for you and see where it goes.
Wow, that's incredible. So I didn't know about the.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky in a lot of ways. Like, I wasn't, at the time, I didn't need to be like buying gas with the money I made here or putting food on the table. You know, we were in good shape that way. I'd already like done all my jobs, done all my career and everything. So it was partly a way to keep a storefront open in the town, a filled storefront in the town, for me to have something to do that I really, really loved. And if we made some money, great. And we do.
That's what's amazing. I mean, so you were at the gym for how many months or how many years?
I think it was like a year. I think it was like a year and a half in total.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the business is over 7 years old. We turned 7 in December.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And the building, just because I know a little bit more about the backstory, it's also part of your tourism division, right?
Well, yes, my space I shared with, my husband built a visitor center. So his vision for that was like getting it, you know, having a New York State sanctioned visitor center would get people off the highway coming through Canajahari, excuse me, and it would just help traffic in the town. We opened that in 2013. So I had, like, say 2/3 of the space, and that place took up a third. After a couple of years, and that was a great model. After a couple of years, though, once the smartphone phenomena became absolutely universal, we started noticing that there were fewer and fewer people needing a brochure or help making a reservation or anything like that. So I took over that space. So I've now expanded into this whole, so it's probably like 1,200 square foot. It's not huge, the whole space, but
it's huge, guys. There's a lot of clothes there. So if you ever visit, you will find something for yourself. All right. So tell us a little bit more. And I think this is just such an important question, because from a business point of view, it makes so much sense, but not everyone thinks of this right away. Well, what inspired you to choose the consignment model? And obviously you didn't start strictly with the consignment model, and you can tell our audience tonight a little bit more about what you do, Michele, as a buyer, because I know personally you buy some things for the store too. But just talk us through a little bit why that works for you. And
because okay, consignment is a great way to fill your store with inventory and not tie up your capital.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing about consignment is you don't have like ticking time bombs on your racks. You have clothes that you've selected from what's brought into you that you think are going to sell. So that's that develops as when I first started, I was taking stuff I shouldn't have been taking, but I quickly realized like I had to hone that carefully so that I could actually move the stuff. Yeah, I had to be very particular, very careful about inspections and everything. But so the merchandise is in my store without any financial input on my part. So that worked with me wanting to start this business on a shoestring without having to put a lot of money in. So, and then consigning is great too, because people are coming into your store to bring you things that they want to get rid of. I couldn't believe this amazing things that were coming in, but they're also in your store. So if they're not shopping, they're telling their friends, like, oh, you should bring your stuff there. You should shop there, try her. You need to go to this wedding or whatever, like give it a try. So it's kind of a little bit of automatic foot traffic in a town where there's not, I think you're going to ask me a little bit about what my town's like, but yeah. It's not a very busy street scene here.
Yeah, you know what? I never even thought of it from that perspective, but the consignment model creates word of mouth. So even if someone's consigning for eBay or Poshmark or whatever, they might tell their friends, and then if you're building a brand somewhere, social media, preferably, people will start to follow you, and you can get some customers just because your consigners are telling other people about you, or your consigners come in
and it's good for it's good for them too, because they're trying to sell their stuff here. So the more of their friends that know,
go buy my stuff.
They're incented to tell their friends.
Exactly. I love this so much. Now you also buy for the store a little bit.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. That's the fun part.
Oh my gosh, yes. What's so great about it is because I have a store, it doesn't have to fit me. It doesn't have to even be something that I feel like it's not necessarily my style, but I know it's cool. I know it's quality, or I know it's, I just know there's something special about it. So I can just buy everything.
Yeah.
There's no brakes on.
Yeah, no.
And I mean, I'm still selective in what I buy, but like, there's no criteria. If I know it's good and I know it's a good deal, I can buy it.
Yes, love it. Now back to consigning. And this is such a nitty gritty question, but it's something that I'm sure if someone wants to start a business, it's like they might not even know this exists. I know you use a type of software, so could you talk us through that and how that helps you to have this business in a professional manner versus I'm going to write everything down, on pieces of paper?
Well, I did do that for like, I think like almost the first 3 years of the business. It was handwritten tags. It was notebooks with everybody's stuff in it. And I'm a record keeper. So I loved like going back and marking that one sold and, but it was, as my consignor base grew, it was getting just so time consuming. I mean, I kept up with it. So I started looking into software and I ended up buying something called Consign Pro.
Okay.
And at the time, it was a really decent price point for me to get into, and it has made my life a lot easier. It's a fantastic software program with great support and great functionality, simple, quick to learn. Like, it didn't take any time to learn it. And it's helped me. One of the most important things about being a consignment business is your customers' confidence in you taking their stuff. Okay, so they're like dropping off their things and they're hoping they're going to get some money out of it. And if I can't keep track of their stuff, if I can't show them the record of me taking it and selling it. Like it's I think that's one of the biggest assets in my business is my customers' confidence in me. And I really worked hard to maintain and protect that. So the software, because it was getting bigger, the software made that a lot more possible. And I could hand people like a printed report from a computer program as opposed to like showing them my notebook or making a copy of a page in my notebook.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
I mean, there's a million other benefits to having a good software package, and there's a few of them out there. I don't know any of them except this one, and I think this one's terrific.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, what is your store policy, right? So people bring in their clothes. How many days before you put it on sale, and what percentage do they get if you sell it?
It's a little bit of a sliding scale, but most things sell. If things sell for $50 or under, they get 40%. If they sell for $50 to $150, they get 50%, and anything over that, they get 65%. I keep things for 90 days, and they can even, with this software that I have, they can log in and see their inventory. They can see if I owe them a balance. So they love that. And that makes it easier for me because I don't have to make a lot of phone calls. I don't have to take a lot of phone calls to answer questions. Not that I mind, but it's just a little bit of time, saves time. I think people really, really enjoy being able to log into my system and see their account. So anyway, so I keep things for 90 days. After 90 days, I start marking it down, or like if the season changes, I start putting things on sale. And after another 60 days, the items become mine. They become property of the store. And at that point, I can donate them. I can put them on a $2 pile. I can do whatever I want with them.
If they don't pick them up.
But because people, right, and they're totally welcome to pick them up, but they just have to kind of call me after their expiration date. Just call me and say, that leather jacket, I want to come and get that. No problem. Like I just need a day, and I could pull all of your stuff or one, whatever you want. So I'm happy to do that. But I find most consigners are just like, yeah, if it doesn't sell or you can't use it, just donate it. And we have a church nearby that has actual clothing giveaways every 2 months for local people. So people feel good about that too. Like, so if they can't get money for it, I will take it there, and then they know there's another chance for somebody to make use of it. I think that's what people want. They just don't want they want their things to have another life.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
There's two chances. I could sell it for them, or it could go there, and maybe somebody would take it during one of the clothing giveaways. That's it. It's very simple.
It's such a great point, though. And this is because I've been with you, and I know how long it takes to get to a Salvation Army or a Goodwill. But as a thrift store owner, you can almost become the equivalent of a Goodwill or a Salvation Army if the owner is still taking your inventory or the inventory that they don't sell and donating it elsewhere on your behalf. So it's almost like you're like a closet clean out helper, helping people.
Yeah, I'm like a way station on the way to the Salvation Army situation.
That's so awesome.
Yeah,
so awesome.
And we could all if we can make a little money at that middle spot, great.
Right. So it's amazing. Now, I know that we briefly talked about this, and it wasn't necessarily on my list of questions, but I think this is really important, maybe you to just talk through with us, because the number one cash tie-up besides overhead is inventory. So it's important that we get smarter, and there's a little bit of fuzz, guys. That might be Michelle.
I don't hear. I'm not hearing anything.
Okay, I think.
Are people hearing fuzzy?
Yeah, it's probably. I think it's like in and out because someone did comment about it, and I took out my headset thinking it was me, but it might be you. But you know what? You touched it, so if it comes back, we might just want you to play with your headset. But you seem fine now. You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. Yeah, it's good now. If you guys hear it though at any point, let us know in the comments because we want you to be able to hear us clearly. So anyway, back to the question. So how have you, Michele, I mean, gosh, over 7 years, learned to buy smarter, learned what to buy and what to say no to?
I've learned to, well, let's with that. So you're talking about consignments and or
Yeah,
or my
both.
shopping.
You're right. You know what?
Both? Okay.
That answer
So
question
with
goes.
consignments,
Mhm.
I'm I'm always trying to ratchet it up. So obviously, I'm looking for flaws. I'm looking for stains, missing buttons, pulls, like not anything like that. I can't take. Shoes, like I don't take. If someone brings in shoes that are like dirty on the bottom,
Yeah.
even if they're nice now, I'm kind of like. Sometimes people will go back, try like if they smell like smoke or anything else, like I can't take them. But then in terms of like the clothing themselves, I find that uh, it's almost like a sixth sense. Like if it's quality, I'll take it. Even, you know, if it's a style that's kind of obnoxiously out of date, like 20-year-old business suits from Dress Barn, like like stuff on that
Yeah.
level. I don't take a lot of, and I don't take a lot of Walmart pieces or
Target.
even Target. Like I don't really like really cheap fast fashion, cheap fabrics. It's not worth it because you can buy that at Salvation Army for $2. I can't afford to sell it for $2. I've got to sell it for. I'm looking for something that I can get $8.50 for as a shirt,
Okay.
and it's got to be decent
Mm-hmm.
for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a
So
great point. So you have like
that's something I'm
minimum
constantly doing.
per type of item. You have like a minimum amount that you want to be able to sell it for per item.
That's right. That's right.
That's a great.
And it goes up from there. And it's really interesting. Quality sells, even here in Canada, where it's not the fashion capital of the world. It's not affluent, but the ladies who bring me the quality items, their stuff sells, and they make out like bandits, and so do I.
Right. Right.
Incredible
win-win.
And I love the quirky. I love the unusual. I just don't like. I don't take. I don't know. It has to have some merit. It has to have some worthiness.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's some people don't even think about it that way. So it's right. You have to know what to say no to before you know what to say yes to in this business.
That's right. And you have to learn. You have to also learn, if you were going to do this, you have to learn how to diplomatically pass. Like I say, well, I'll pass on that. And sometimes people are like, why? I never even wore it. Like they'll kind of want to go back and forth as to why, and I will be as diplomatic as I can. Sometimes you just have to say it's. Well, I'll say, well, it's just not going to sell in here. Like that's kind of like the last thing I'll say before I have to say.
Right. It makes them feel like it might sell somewhere else, so they don't have to feel like.
And maybe it would, and maybe it would. Maybe it would. Because there's all kinds of stores.
Absolutely.
It's just that I'm the closest. I'm the closest one for a lot of people close by here.
Right. Well, back to your store. So the inner workings of your store, and I know this is the conversation for many, many minutes, but obviously you have yourself and doors open at 10 a.m. and doors close at such and such time. So how would you describe the day in the life of Michele at Emotional Outlet?
Well, the first thing I try to do is I have this cleaning roster.
Yeah.
Because you have to keep the place clean and spiffy looking. And I just, so I have this roster, and everybody who works here, including me, has to like pick a job each day and do that little job, whether it's straightening the racks or sweeping vacuuming the floor or cleaning the glass, cleaning the mirror. So like there's a little housekeeping that gets done every day. Then I do a little merchandising. So I'll decide, the 50% off rack could use a few more items. So I'll find, pieces that have been expired for a while. I'll stick them on there, or the shoes need to be reorganized. So like I try to do a little bit of visual merchandising every day. And then depending on the stack in the back, I'm doing incoming. I'm the only one who does incoming. I haven't figured out a way to offload that to the people that work here yet. So that can be a huge, huge mountain, or that could be just a couple of things. I could whip them out quickly. But so I do it person by person, consignor by consignor. As they brought in their stuff, I get the stuff typed into my system, priced, hung,
Mm-hmm.
and then waiting for the gal who comes in on Thursdays and Fridays, and she does the steaming and the tagging, and then she'll put it all out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have people coming in, dropping off stuff, shopping. Uh, I try to do some social media marketing or some newsletters.
Right.
It's it's a very varied day.
Yeah.
So and it goes really fast.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that. It flies by because before you know it,
It really does.
will come in
Yeah.
and they're 20 minutes of your time each, and you do that math, and that's 3 hours. So yeah.
Yeah, that can really add up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's so fun. Like I love catching up with people, and I love seeing, if I have time, we'll go through what they brought together, and it's fun to see what they've got in their bags, and it's just lovely. That part, that social part, that connection with the customer part.
Now, when did you
Really good.
just to give our audience here a little bit more insights? I know you didn't always have employees. When did you decide that you needed to hire people to help you, and why?
2013. So I moved in here in July of 2013, and in September I hired a woman for 3 days a week.
It was early.
So it was 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she was basically another me. Like she really did everything I could do except the incoming. So she could take photographs. She could make decisions. She could sign checks. She could do windows. She really, really was my partner. And but it was very, very expensive. And like I didn't make anything for myself. It was, the store was a little bit profitable, but it was super, super expensive to have an employee with that at that many hours, because I wasn't paying her minimum wage. I was paying her more than minimum wage. And so I had her, and then maybe a year later, I got another woman join me, and she was more part-time, a little bit of a fill, she sort of filled in. She had I think she had one regular day, and then she could fill in if we needed her. And she was awesome too. And then from there, like I always had like my main woman, Linda, and then I would have like one other person. But Linda got another job this past September. So she worked with me for 5 years, and she is now working full time at her other job. So she had me and another job. That's how she was making her full time living. They wanted her full time. So now I have some high school, like more high school, college girls at minimum wage, and they're amazing. I can't even believe how great they are. One of them is gone. Like she's at sleepaway college now. So I'm actually gonna be hiring somebody starting like in March. I'm going to be looking for a person who can maybe work 2 days a week, maybe in the summer 3 days a week. Mm-hmm. So I need somebody who can work, business hours. Mm-hmm. So, but I find like I have to have somebody working for me because I have like paperwork to do. I have taxes to prepare. It's just, I just can't be in the store all the time. I have doctor appointments. I have, vet appointments. Right.
Yeah.
So it's part of, it's very, very expensive. There's once you get it all set up, it's no big deal, but there's like, rules and insurance and extra, like you have to do like workers' compensation, you have to do disability, you have to do extra insurance in the store for liability. And so it's very, very expensive, but I think it pays. I think it pays because you do get the productivity. Like I don't have to steam clothes anymore. That's very time consuming. So you have to sort of, at some point, that's going to probably, if somebody's starting a business like this, they could try to do it all themselves and they could do it for a while, but it's probably not going to be, they're not going to be able to sustain that for that long.
Yeah. And we just had a question about, do you still do Etsy and eBay? How do you find time to do it all? And that kind of leads into my next question, which is like, deciding what has worked for the store and what hasn't. And obviously you were just sort of answering that question simply by talking about hiring employees and recognizing that, hey, like this is another, I'm just going to do the math really quickly, another 300 a week out of pocket. And then I have my insurance, which is another 1,200 a year or something like that. But the return on my productivity and the store's productivity in the sense of how much it can sell makes up for it. So how do you find, how have you decided what to focus your attention on, especially when it comes to selling online as well? Because I know you do support the store with online sales.
Yes. Online sales is about maybe 35 to 40% of sales, but the dollar amount per item is higher than the dollar amount per item in the store. Obviously, I don't put everything in the store online. I only put the truly exceptional. And I can't tell you that I've like ever analyzed like, is it worth it or not? It is, because I love doing it and I love the thrill of selling something online. And it is 40% of our gross.
Yeah.
So I think, and I'm making a profit less, the profit I'm making goes up every year. So, it's definitely worth it.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, just to like talk some like business sense to you guys, every year, if you see what's working and you focus on what's working, you're only going to make more money. And then your reputation as a seller, let's just say brick and mortar and online, also increases. So the dollar return per item can go up. So let's say you sold this blazer 5 years ago, you might only have been able to get $45 for it because your online reputation was lower. But 5 years later, you can get $85 for it, because just so many things, so many nuances have become sharpened. Even just how you take your photos can influence how much a consumer is willing to pay. And I've seen Michele, again, I'm going to blow you up. I mean, I've seen Michele start at the bare minimum and slowly but surely build in certain ways so that she is a more professional seller and the dollar amount per item increases as the years go by. Would you agree with that?
And right. And
yeah,
absolutely. And I guess I've learned like, what I've also noticed is the prices online, it gets harder. It's harder and harder to get like a higher price.
Okay.
If you're trying to sell like, just like say a J. Crew sweater, there used to be bidding wars on eBay over anything J. Crew. J. Crew does not command a premium. So if I know I can sell it in the store for $8.50 or $9, I'm not going to waste the time putting it online. Like I did figure out at one point that it costs about, when I had my Linda doing the photographs for me, so it cost me about $7 per item to do the photos.
Wow.
Yeah. So, that's kind of a quick way to say, is this even worth photographing and listing?
Right.
So now it's a little cheaper for me. I have a gal who's freelancing for me. She comes in, she doesn't have a lot of time. She's super, super busy, but she enjoys it. And Wendy, Wendy.
Oh,
she comes in and spends an afternoon shooting pictures for me.
God.
And, I pay her. And so I get some cranked out. Like she could crank out a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's totally worth it.
That's awesome.
I select what gets photographed. Like I have a rack of stuff that's waiting to be photographed all the time. Except I was just away. Wendy did a good job clearing it out. She got a lot done.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Wendy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, again, just to like add on to what you were saying, with time in any business, you just figure out what's working and what's not. And so what Michele is saying is
that changes all the time.
Eventually she's hired a more qualified person to take photos, because now maybe Wendy taking photos, it's $3 a photo because she's much faster. She knows what she's doing. Everything's just much more streamlined. And so that's just something you have to adapt
Sammy,
to.
if I may.
Am I freezing?
Yeah, it's not $3. It's not $7. It wasn't $7 a photo. It was $7 per item.
Oh, I'm sorry, per item. Yeah.
So like you would shoot a coat and you take like 9 pictures of it. Like that costs about $7.
Yeah, right. So now maybe it's $3, $4, $5 per item, just because she's faster. Yeah. So, but I love that, and I love Michele's business mind. It's like, again, just some like little drops of wisdom here. Start to think about like how much it costs per item just to do certain things with it. to decide, is this worth working with? Is it worth
Exactly.
buying this item? Is it worth, and that's what, my course talks about as well.
Yeah.
Because it is really ultimately about
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's about the strategy. But we have so much still to talk to you guys about. These interviews always, like, I feel like I talk to everyone for 3 hours. Michele is sitting in a 1,200 square foot store that is absolutely stunning. I visit it every year. So if you guys are ever near Emotional Outlet or the area that surrounds Emotional Outlet, definitely go visit. So Michele, we're going to have you, I know we've kind of talked through this, give us a little tour of the store.
Okay.
And then I know you have some items that you want to share with us, but we're just going to make this super casual because I know it's not going to be perfect with the light. So take it away.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, so I'm going to unplug my charger, pick it up, and I've got to reverse.
No, keep it horizontal.
Yeah, but I got to change it from selfie mode to something else, right? Sorry. I just got to put my glasses on. Okay,
Actually,
here we go.
Oh, you want to reverse it so that, we can look at the, yep.
Okay, here we go. Okay.
Hey, there's
so
I'm
going to walk slow. So
Perfect.
yeah, Sammy, this is fun. So this is kind of like the door. This is at the front door.
Yay.
This is my front room. That is my photo corner right there. That's where all the stuff gets shot. And these are mostly sweaters and, these are sweaters and tops and some handbags. I have this beautiful counter my husband found on Craigslist. He's like a magical Craigslist finding person. So
I didn't know that was
this beautiful counter
That's
with
insane.
these.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I love this counter. And then I have my little, now Sammy, you are the inspiration for this mood board from your Little Wicked days.
Yep.
So we do, like, it's very plain right now. I have to apologize. I just came home from like a 10-day trip. So this store is not, as in tip-top shape as I'd like it to be. And it's not all, I don't have like a lot of outfits done. But anyway, we do like little outfits on this board with like the accessories down below. This is my shooting rack right now. This is what's waiting to be photographed. There's like all kinds of goodies in there. And then, okay, I'll move you to my back room. Is this going okay, Sammy?
This is great.
Blurry or?
Guys,
okay,
we're loving
I'll just go
right?
quick.
Can you tell Michele in the comments how much we're loving it?
Okay. So this room, I have jeans, I have skirts, I have activewear, I have some sparkly evening wear, and longer dresses. Sammy. And then my shoe department. Oh, I'm afraid to even look. I haven't even been back here.
Oh no, it's probably
disorganized. I'm sorry, everybody. So yeah, so that's that. And then here's my beautiful dressing room. I'm very proud of my dressing room. Wait. This is so fun, Sammy. Okay, so here's my dressing room. Okay, so here's another tip for store owners. These walls are peach colored. This is very flattering. And then I have these were bathroom fixtures. They would normally go above the top of your mirror in your bathroom.
Ooh.
They're frosted glass, and they're on the side of the mirror, not above it. So you don't have like that horrid like dressing room shadow, from above.
Mm-hmm.
It's very flattering in here. People like yell at me all the time, like how
good they look.
Oh, I look so good in here. I know I'm not, but they do look that good. And then anyway, so that's this room. And I'll show you my incoming. I don't know if this is the reality of
that. Yeah.
This. Oh, I don't want to go sideways, but this is what is waiting for me after my trip.
Oh my God.
So that's a lot. That's kind of a lot. It's been worse though. All right. So then we're going to go in my other room. This used to be the Visitor Information Center. We still have the sign, and over in the corner back there, right, is still like some brochures and a big map and everything, because once in a while somebody will come in, Anyway, so in this room is more a seasonal room. So I've got like sweaters, I have lots of coats, and I also have regular day dresses back here.
So many pieces.
Are you getting fuzzy?
No, you look great.
Oh yeah, it's kind of crazy. And I have this rack is this little round rack, and I always put, like, if I ever get any like Victoria's Secret pink, like this is for like the teenagers. because I find people don't really want to go through the racks like I do at a thrift store. Things sell better if they're sort of like easy for people to see. So I think that rack does that. I got a little lingerie going on. I got some beautiful scarves in here. So yeah.
Amazing.
So that's basically.
I want
I don't want to overdo it. Jewelry. Oh, I know. I can't wait to come again. Jewelry. And there's my cockpit. It's a disaster right now, but that's me, my desk back there. I have a little window out onto the street so I can see who's coming and going.
And there's your friend.
And that's it, Sammy.
There's your windows.
Now, okay, if I may, for anybody who's thinking of having a store, your windows are your best friends. They sell things for you. They bring people are constantly telling me, oh, your windows. I stop, I drive by every day. I can't wait to see what you have in your windows. And windows are so, and I have beautiful corner locations. So I have windows on two, like one's an alley and one's a street. So super lucky that way. And I had them built out. I had like a platform built so that I could. The windows are about 7 feet tall.
Right.
So
yeah.
So they work out really well.
So many things to think about. I mean, I really think if anyone here wants to open a store, I would say Rachel's probably also someone to contact from last week. But have a conversation with Michele.
She was great.
About all the things that you need to think about.
Anytime.
When you're building out a store, because who would have thought? Yeah, that's right. You need to have an elevated platform to actually have windows that look like windows for a store, because you don't want the mannequins on the floor.
Kind of, yeah.
Hanging out.
And I'm inspired all the time. Like I just came back I was out in Aspen, I was out in Santa Barbara, and we went to thrift shops, Salvation Army type stores, and we went to like high-end consignment stores. Every place you go, even regular stores, you see ideas for displaying things that could spark ideas on how you could display things in your own store.
So true.
Some really easy to implement. I got so many ideas. I came back with so many ideas from this trip. I can't wait to get going.
And that's such a wonderful feeling to be excited to do what you're doing every single day.
Always, yes, very much. I feel I'm so blessed. I'm so lucky to be able to do this.
Yay. Now, I forget did you pull a couple of pieces to show us? I forget.
I did. If we're running short on time, Sammy, we can.
Yeah, we're
okay. Okay. So
let's do them really quickly, and then we have one more question. So, because this is
okay.
The fashion
well, first one. Okay. So let me just grab. These are in honor of Rachel. You're the girl from San Antonio. She showed all those beautiful boots. So I have this gorgeous pair of red. Line dancing boots. That's what the lady who brought them in told me they were. Beautiful red leather boots. I want to show those. I think I'm gonna move my tripod a little bit so I can reach things. And can I show a couple of pairs of shoes and then I can show some clothes. All right. So these are Ferragamo Oxfords. These black suede that I found at Salvation Army that are just beautiful. I think these are like a size 6.
That's a fine. That's a Salvation Army.
How cute are those?
Oh my goodness.
Sort of like strict girl outfits. These came in. Somebody brought these in. I think these are really smart. They're just patent leather fringe loafers from Unisa. This is a really nice brand. Really padded in here, really comfortable, and like look at how brand new, So like that's what I'm looking for. I don't want to see gunk in the treads of anything. This is other really cute pair of boots. I think this is a trend right now with the thongs wrapped around your ankle. I'm seeing that style a little bit on my Facebook, through my Facebook feed when they show. I'm getting ads for boots like this, so I was really excited to get these. Somebody brought these in. They're embroidered. There's a cute teal color.
Those are really pretty.
So I'm getting tangled up here. So let me see what I have on my rack here. Okay. This I love. Now, this may not be everybody's cup of tea.
Looks like my cup of tea.
It's a silk shirt from the 80s with gold fringe beading and embroidery.
Love that. She showed us in our interview a piece just like that. That's epic, Michele.
Really?
Yeah.
And this is a cool consigner story. So I bought this shirt. I sold it. The girl who bought it was going to wear it for Halloween. So I said, okay, don't wreck it. Bring it back when you're done with it. So she did. So I bought it back from, did I buy? No, I consigned it from her. So I got my money when I sold it. Now, if somebody else buys it, she gets some and I get some more. See what I'm saying?
That's double the money. That's amazing.
It's not double, but it's, I sell it twice.
Yeah.
Okay, here's two more fun vintage pieces. Sammy, you just cut me off or I'll never stop. I got this gold metallic mini skirt.
What is this? This is
It's
insane.
a size, I'm calling it a size
4.
8. It's a 1980s 8. You would fit this.
That looks so tiny.
I don't have my glasses on. I think it says 8. No, it's not really.
Oh, but no, it says 8 on the inside. No, that's a 4. I'm not quite a 4. I'm about
okay.
Anyway, what's that?
Well, I've got the measurements. I'll send you the measurements. So here's the silver. Here's the silver metallic high-waisted jeans. So what we did, me and Hannah, one of the gals that works for me, we made. Remember when President Trump announced his Space Force initiative?
I don't know.
So we got all the metal. Okay, so it was this crazy thing, and they had these like crazy logos. So we created like a Space Force uniform supply center in Emotional Outlet. We did this. I got pictures on my Facebook page. I won't bore you.
Oh my gosh,
it was so fun. It was so funny. Now this is a brand. This is St. John Sport. Mm-hmm. This is a pair of vintage like ski pants type of material with gold hardware and stuff. St. John's is a huge like high end.
Yeah.
You know that brand.
Classic brand.
Here's a cute little vintage dress.
Oh.
Little wool tweed. I think it could be real wool.
Isn't
that sweet? Peter Pan collar.
Peter Pan collar.
It has a little
back.
It has a little belt in the back. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here's in honor of the master who we lost last week. This is a Karl Lagerfeld. So I'm showing you like vintage and modern, so like this is a modern, and I don't think it's Karl Lagerfeld for Target. I think it's a real Karl Lagerfeld. It doesn't say Target on it. But look how brilliant with the seams.
It's gorgeous. He did
look how, I'm sure this would be super.
For Macy's. I think that's probably his Macy's line.
Okay, that would make sense.
Still.
A little vintage tennis set.
Okay.
Shorts and a cute little tunic.
Why are you selling to me on this Facebook Live, Michelle?
Well, these two I picked out in honor of you too. I'll just show you these quick.
Yeah, let me see.
Because I noticed you showed your yellow. People were dying over your yellow dress.
The one I bought for you.
So I got these are modern. These are not vintage.
Yes.
They're made in Mexico, and they're shorter, but beautiful embroidery. I think these are my nieces. So like all my sisters-in-law and sisters, like they send up my cool teen nieces' clothes.
Beautiful.
And they love it when I come visit. They all get checked.
So fun for summer. Let's see one more thing.
Should I keep going?
One more thing.
Okay, one more thing. Oh my gosh, what should I pick? Okay, I'm gonna pick a modern piece. This is another brand that's I think pretty popular right now. It's Cabi.
Yeah, Cabi.
C-A-B-I. And these are just gorgeous silk, like flowy pants. I tried these on actually, and I think I did get into them. So I may be maybe not going anywhere with my home. But they're just these beautiful, beautiful birds.
That's a beautiful print. Mm-hmm. Very oriental.
So I don't know if that's a good example or not, Sammy, but you got to come in. You got to come in. Do some rack looking.
Right. To everyone out there, come in and do some rack looking. I'm totally promoting you, but I told everyone that Michelle's a personal friend, so she gets more promotion now. Michelle, what's been really great about this series, and thank you to everyone for tuning in, because I hope that this is as inspiring as I think it's been. But I have gotten some feedback from people who have said, wow, like I want to do that, and that's my dream. And they're responding to basically me promoting on Instagram stories, on Instagram here and Facebook. So my last question to everyone is just a general question. Hey, if someone were to call you and want to talk to you about your business, what's just some advice you would tell them to take right now, or some action steps for them to take right now, so that they could get started, or at least start the process of understanding everything it takes to run a business of yours?
Well, I think that they should spend a good deal of time like visualizing and crunching some numbers. I mean, if they're not in a position where it doesn't matter if they make any money for a year, so be it. But it's still, even if they were, it's better to know. It's better to have a little bit of a spreadsheet, a forecast, a goal, and then measure yourself monthly against that goal.
Right.
And ask people like what really is involved. Like what do I have to buy? How much do racks cost? How much does paper products cost? Like you're buying a ton of stuff in addition to any cost of starting up a business cost that you might have, like just sort of like bureaucracy type of costs. Yeah. So there's a lot that goes into it, and the more information, the more you have figured out in advance, the better. And then also be realistic about how much time you have, because as much time as I spend on this, it's not enough. Like I wish I could, I wish I had more time to spend to really do a great job at merchandise, a great, get all my stuff photographed and listed. I have so much stuff to list, and I just can't get it all out there. Yeah. So, and I love every minute of it, so I don't mind the time I'm spending. But if you do, or if you have too much going on, like you want to just be really realistic about how much time you have, and you'll be sitting in the store all by yourself sometimes. Maybe not in other locations, but here I am. I'm and I have tons of stuff to keep me busy during that time. But it's a challenge to stay positive and focused, like especially at times like this in January, February, when it's like raining. We're about to have a giant windstorm. I've had 2 people in the store all day, 2 shoppers all day. Right. Which at this point, after 7 years, I can honestly say like I don't freak out anymore. But every year before now, it was just really hard to keep my spirits up. Yeah. But that might not be the case in many other towns.
No, it's the case in New York when I ran, for those of you who are new, I ran a boutique for a year and a half, and yeah, we have some days it's basically like, wow, you're tired, but if a lot of people are coming in, you're not, because that's when you're going to make the money, because the next day could just totally tank. It's like the energies of the universe that you can't explain, and it doesn't always have to do with the weather, which is also the thing that everyone wants to blame the weather. But yeah, and it's the same with my tour business. Like I've had to do so many one-on-ones, one-on-twos. I mean, I make $30 per person for a one-on-one, and I'm with them for 5 hours, but I know
it's a lot.
That's what you do because you maintain your integrity as a business owner. Yes. And you continue to form those relationships, get those reviews, and then you'll have that day. Like I'll have a day on the tour, I make $350 for 5 hours,
Right.
So
exactly.
The same thing with business. And you're so right, Michele. And what I really appreciate about you, and it's a reminder for me too, is that unfortunately, we live in I say unfortunately, but there's a lot of fortunately about it, because money is a very positive thing, and it's such a wonderful tool for creating and sharing. But money does speak, it talks. So you as an individual have to really look at the numbers and understand, what can I take on right now? And what we teach in our course is actually, we don't want you to take on a lot. We want you to take bites until you have the cash flow to buy things. Like what's in front of me right now is a $80 ring light. We don't want you to go buy your ring light, go buy your mannequin, go buy your steamer. Before you know it, you spent $250 and you haven't sold a thing. So what Michele is talking about is it's just so valid. And so maybe you think to yourself, well, I could do A, B, and C, but maybe I should start selling at markets first. Or maybe I should start selling out of my home first to reduce costs.
Yeah, and you can do it. You can start any way you want. Like you could start with the back of your closet door, and a hanger, right, and a camera.
Right.
But if you choose that, I believe you have to be consistent and just pound away. Like don't give up. Like don't try for a week and be like, just keep trying. Keep
going. And recognize too that where you start, again, if we're talking about clothing in particular, this blazer, I'm wearing a Christian Dior blazer, and one seller could probably sell it for $300 because it's a legitimate Christian Dior classic piece, great shoulders, double-breasted, beautiful buttons. But I might only be able to sell it for 30. And that sounds extreme, but if I'm just starting out, I don't have the reputation, I don't have the professional equipment. So if I'm just hanging it on the back of my closet door, I might list it at 60 on eBay and someone gets it at a best offer for $30. So you as a seller, you can't be attached when you're beginning to the price point. You know, you just got to move inventory and grow professionally, and then you get more top dollar for your pieces. And I'm sure, Michele, you've experienced that.
Yeah.
Well,
I would say, you know, shoot for the stars. You can always lower your price. You know, people can offer you crazy lowball offers. Like, you just never know. You might stumble across a buyer who's like, oh my God, I've been looking for that jacket for 20 years and she's only asking $200 for it. You know, a bang, or if she offers, you know. So you may not have a reputation. You need to build a reputation. It's so important. Integrity, honesty, customer service, the way you pack things. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about online because I know you got other, but you just have to be responsive, communicate well. You have to like spell correctly, use proper grammar, like all those little things. And you know, in an in-person, you have to have really good manners. You just have to like be mannerly, be kind, and engage with your customers. And that is how you build that reputation.
Yeah, great advice. Michele, this has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sammy. It was so fun. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm so happy. You know, this is such a blessing for me because I need to do like Facebook Lives for my store. Yeah. And I was just so intimidated. But now I'm like, I'm going to totally do it.
Totally. Totally easy. And
thank you.
People love them, and more and more people are enjoying them because we're, you know, becoming a online only content society. So I just wish the best for you guys, and I'm not to you guys. I wish the best to everyone watching. I do, but I wish the best to Michele and Emotional Outlet. And if you guys are tuning in,
and you too, Sammy, keep it up.
Thank you, love.
Keep up what you are doing.
Thank you. But if you guys are watching right now, I see there's about 8 people watching live. Please follow Michele. Say hello to her on Facebook, and let's keep on being thrift boss babes in whatever way showing up in our lives. Yeah. If you haven't taken the What Type of Thrifter Are You quiz, what are you waiting for? Michele, did you take it? What type of thrifter?
I took it today. I think I'm
the
first one. The label.
You're the label.
Well, there's. Yeah, that's what I
think. You were probably the label lover and Old Soul.
No, I was label lover and office fashionista.
That makes complete.
Those are my 2 top ones.
Oh my God! See, this quiz. I don't know what happened, but my journalism degree works. So I come from a magazine background, so you know there's
fun
in magazines, and I was like, oh, this is how we're gonna do it, and it's been working. So if you haven't taken that quiz, go take it and say hello to Michele. Michele, thank you so much for being on.
And Sammy, any of your people who want to get in touch with me, have a question, I'm thrilled to spend some time on the phone with them or on Facebook.
That's huge. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, look at all the hearts.
I'll talk to you offline. Bye.
Okay.